Good morning, good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to another Geek Tavern. As always, it's me, Sean, and I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
And Aaron.
Yo.
And today we're talking about Mike's recommendation from last week, Beverly Hills Cop, 1984, I believe.
Something like that.
Starring Eddie Murphy.
Very 80s.
Very 80s.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically...
Starring a bunch of your favorite 80s actors.
The long and short of it is... Eddie Murphy plays a Detroit cop by the name of Axel Foley. He meets up with a former delinquent friend who stole from some bad people and got gunned down for it. And now he's investigating his murder where it originated in Beverly Hills. Thus, Beverly Hills Cop.
And thus Beverly Hills Cop was born.
And all the cops in Detroit were like, yeah, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think that some of the cops from Detroit would have made their way to Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
But it's just Axel Foley dealing with the cops from Beverly Hills the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like not anybody else. Spawn 2 sequels. This is the first time I've ever seen this movie, and I haven't seen the sequels
Is there
either.
a fourth?
I don't know. I thought
Because we were talking about this.
I
Yeah.
thought there was only three movies.
There might be. I don't know. It's one of those Mandela things where I feel like there's a fourth, but there probably isn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to lose this, so.
Well, now that we said that there's a fourth, they're going to be like, we're rebooting.
Yeah,
just keep
Hills
making a
Cop
sequel.
4. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a reboot, but they call it Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Just like if they were going to reboot the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, they just call it.
It wouldn't be rebooting, though. It would be continuing.
It would just be continuing.
What I'm saying is, they take this, they reboot the first movie, but they call it Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy just playing the disgruntled lieutenant.
Yeah, exactly.
The precinct.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what do we have to say about the movie?
Hank from Breaking Bad.
His name's not Hank. You
Oh.
got the wrong guy. Jonathan Banks, though. He plays
Jonathan Hanks.
he plays Mike.
Jonathan Hanks.
Mike.
Yes.
Who's Hank?
Dean Norris.
I always get them confused.
They are both elderly bald men.
They are.
So-
But they look distinctly different.
They do.
Sorry, I didn't know his name was Mike.
That's fine.
I thought it was Hank.
It's not that big of a deal.
I thought that I didn't know Dean Norris's character's name, but turns out I do know his name.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, so a very young Mike from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, this is I don't think this is the first movie I've seen him in. He was in what the fuck is it? Buckaroo Banzai. He was in that movie. And he was really young in that movie.
I never
too.
made it all the way through Buckaroo Banzai.
No, it's strange. But but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Beverly Hills Cop.
Do we want the synopsis now with my terrible reading?
Sure, we can.
Okay. After his buddy is murdered while visiting Detroit, rebellious cop Axel Foley follows the leads to Beverly Hills, California. Under auspicious... is that the...
Yeah, that's the word.
Whatever, I don't know. It's word weird.
Okay. Under the auspicious of a... Yeah, that's horrible.
Okay, yeah.
Eddie Murphy play funny cop.
Under the guise of a vacation,
Yeah.
he checks in with an old friend, Jenny Summers, played by Lisa Elbecker, and starts to believe her boss, art dealer Victor Matland, Stephen Burkhoff, might somehow be involved in the murder. However, Lieutenant Bogomil, Ronnie Cox of the Beverly Hills Police Department, does not trust Foley and hinders his search of evidence.
Yes.
This is
There's a lot of strange names in that.
Well,
Yeah.
this was watching this movie, for me anyway, watching a lot of 80s movies. I was like, oh wow, this is a who's who of your favorite 80s stars. You had Judge Reinhold, Ronnie Cox, the guy from Rambo 2, Eddie Murphy. Who else? There was a few other people that
I recognize them, but I don't know them by name.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I definitely noticed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Quite a few of them.
there was a lot of 80s. I'm like, wow, this is definitely an 80s movie because I recognize a good majority of these people.
Basically, the crux of the movie is basically Axel Foley coming into a police department and making them all dirty cops by breaking the rules. Because that's like the point of the movie. Is like the Beverly Hills cops are like by the book. They're stern, they're straight laced, and obviously Axel Foley, he's from Detroit, so he plays it a little loose, breaks the rules every now and then, and he's basically he eventually pushes all of the cops into just like breaking the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for the betterment of like solving this drug smuggling case, but at the same time, he just made all of these cops like bad cops.
Well, and like, I feel like the majority of the movie too is like he goes and does something, and then it cuts to the next scene. It's just Ronnie Cox going, "Axel," you know, like,
yeah, exactly.
Alvin, you know, and that's what it boiled down.
Yeah, it's
to.
like him scolding him.
Yeah,
I did like Axel Foley a lot. Like he would go do things, and then he would like outsmart the Beverly Hills cops just by like. Well, the first instance we see is he buys them dinner, and then he like shoves a banana in their tailpipe.
3 bananas.
Yeah, 3 bananas in their tailpipe and blows up their car. And then like he just like knows more about police stuff than everyone else. But he's also like a good guy because whenever he meets back up with Judge Reinhold and with Taggart, he's like, "Oh, you know, I wasn't like, sure, I did that to like get you off my tail, but I really like was genuine when I sent you the food. Like I'm a cop. I've been on steakhouse before. I know how it sucks. I was just being a nice cop." And then he eventually gets both of them on his side, and he like leads them to do stuff like under the ruse of just like, yeah, we're just gonna do this thing, and then it's actually like part of his case, like trying to break it. Like he takes him to the strip club under the guise of like, oh, let's go grab a drink, but he actually is there because he knew that 2 of the guys that worked for what's his name, Maitland?
yeah, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Were going to be there because he overheard Matt. Yeah, he overheard them when he was like going through the drug smuggling warehouse. So it's pretty tightly written, I think.
Yeah.
It's a tad long for my liking. I think that you could have shaved a good 20 minutes or so off the movie.
20.
Yeah, you could have taken out like at least one of the Ronnie Cox scolding him scenes because like it was unnecessary in my opinion to have 3 of them.
Yeah.
You could have had one, and then like when they stumbled upon something, be like, well, I guess like I felt there wasn't a need for it, but I guess the stakes build as those scenes go on, like because then their chief comes in and he's like, "Get him the fuck out of here."
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Like, there was one instance I was thinking of during the climax whenever it was Taggart and, what's his name, Rosewood. Whenever they were, like, trying to...
Billy.
Yeah, Billy Rosewood, when they were, like, trying to vault that section of the mansion. And it was, like, goofy, because, like, they're, like, he has him on his shoulders and he's, like, falling around or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's funny and all, but get that out. It doesn't add anything to this climax
I don't know. I thought it
sequence.
was pretty funny. But
I just felt like stuff like that could have been shaved down because it was running a tad long for me. And it was like, I was feeling that even before we got to the climax.
yeah.
Or I was feeling it like right whenever the chief was confronting Axel and he's like, all right, leave. And I was like, holy shit, this movie's like still going. So I just feel like it could have been a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I unfortunately looked at the runtime beforehand, so I was like, we're in for one. A comedy that's over an hour.
I was gonna say, I wasn't expecting it to be this long because, like, it is like a cop movie, but at its core, it's a comedy, you
Right?
know? Like, so comedies that are like of such a large length typically aren't the best, but this was. And the action was great too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it blended all of those like sequences together, like the action, like the actual like a detective movie and the comedy. It blended it really well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I couldn't believe how much swearing was in this movie.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, because when I popped up and it was like rated R, I was like, oh.
which I mean, I knew it was rated R because I had to, prove I was over 17 or whatever the hell.
Well, and Judge Reinhold shot a dude in the heart.
I was gonna say there isn't a hell of a lot of violence. It's mostly like language.
I
and-
mean, they
and
pop
then
Mikey right in the head twice. Like,
Yeah.
they're
With
gonna-
no blood spatter.
I mean,
His
no
head
blood spatter.
faces the camera, and there's like nothing.
But there's nudity in it, so
Oh yeah,
brief
there's
nudity at the strip
Yeah.
club scene. I think the most violence there was at the very end. Like
Mhm.
that's the most instance of any blood.
when they blast Maitland.
Yeah, they just like both. I can't remember his name. Lieutenant
Bogomil.
Bogomil and Axel are just like. It's funny because he like shoots and just completely whiffs on shooting Axel, and then they're both just like. He has like 30 bullets in him by the time he goes careening down the stairs.
Where was that stairwell? Because I thought he was
Oh,
like up
yeah.
against the
It
wall.
looked like he was in a bathroom or something.
Yeah.
and
And
then
then they like shot him up, and then he fell down a flight of stairs. And I was like, where the fuck did the stairs come from?
it was a mansion. He might have a set of stairs that lead into his bathroom.
Maybe they shot like an alternate ending where he lived from the shooting but broke his neck falling down the stairs.
No, that's so bad. No way.
Never know, man. It was the 80s.
Yeah, but that was a little bizarre. Now that you bring it up, I didn't
Yeah.
notice it, but my brain did.
Yeah. And there, I'm pretty sure that like Maitland's mansion was the same mansion from Commando that Arnold goes in and is like shooting the fuck up with like the rocket launchers and shit. Look like the same thing.
Mm. I love how the contrast between like the Detroit police station, it's like a shithole, and then they like after Axel gets thrown out the window and he gets arrested, and they take him into this like command center
yeah.
that is like the Beverly Hills.
I mean, it's
police
more
station.
advanced than RoboCop's.
Oh, yeah.
center. Like,
Well, it was in Detroit.
well, yeah, but
I think that might be one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Whenever
Yeah.
he confronts Maitland, and then they're like, get off me, and he throws him out the window, and the cops pull up, and they're like, stand up. He's like, what's the matter with you? And it's like, put your hands on the hood of the car. You're under arrest. He's like, I was thrown out of a window. It's like, you're arresting me for being thrown out of a window? What the fuck is that?
I thought that was
Nowadays,
one
that
of the
would
funniest
that would just be something that you would get arrested for.
in the 80s, not so believable.
No.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, in the 80s, you're like, oh, who the fuck arrests somebody for getting thrown out a window? Nowadays, it's like, oh, they shot him for.
Oh, you
thrown
sneezed
out
on the window? You're arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Executed.
It was kind of like there was a little bit of outdated comedy in the movie.
Which parts exactly?
Well, whenever
List
he-
them in detail.
Yeah, when he was having his scene at the hotel, I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit.
Oh,
Like, you probably couldn't do that in a movie now.
Yeah.
And I forget there was something else. Maybe in the strip club, but I can't entirely remember.
uh,
Oh, Eddie, Alex just turned into a Karen
Oh, yeah.
in that scene.
Or whenever he pretended to be gay and said that he had, like, herpes, like, omega...
Simplex 10.
Simplex 10, yeah. Some, like...
And the guy's like, I think you should tell him.
He's like, you should probably say that to him yourself.
Oh, so you brought that up. You said, oh, you're like, he's doing what Harrison Ford tried to do in Blade Runner. I want to play a game. From now on, any movie that we watch that has a detective, we're going to stack them up against Rick Deckard. And 90% of the time in this game, whoever's up against Rick Deckard is going to come out as the better detective.
It's true. I mean, I think hands down,
Axel Foley is a
like-
much better
yeah,
detective.
like-
Obi-Wan Kenobi is a better detective than Rick Deckard.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I brought that up, though, because in that scene in Blade Runner, he like uses a fake, like a phony accent, and he's pretending to be a reporter, talking to somebody that he's never met before. So he doesn't need to like put on a fake accent. He could just be like, "Hey, I'm a reporter," but he like puts on some fucking bogus accent. So I thought that like Axel was doing that with this guy because he was like putting on like a feminine accent, and then it turns out that he was pretending to be in a homosexual relationship with Maitland. So that actually had purpose to him.
Oh, yeah.
Giving a phony accent.
Yeah, because it got him into
Yeah.
another place.
Whereas when
wasn't trying
Rick
to get-
Deckard did it, it made
Rick
absolutely zero
Deckard was
sense.
just trying to get information, not get him into somewhere else to further the story.
yeah,
And then he ends up killing her.
yeah.
Which, yeah.
Well, I don't like that movie much.
I don't think anyone really does. Sequel? Great. Original? No.
I tried watching it once and I fell asleep.
Yeah, it's very boring. Very, very boring.
Yeah.
It's a snooze fest.
Second one's great, though.
Second one.
I have heard good things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is kind of one of those movies where there's not like a ton to really unbox. I mean, it's
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's a cop movie. He investigates his friend's murder. I thought he would be a little bit more upset about it.
Yeah, he seemed kind of on the level.
Like even when he goes to tell the girl that I can't remember her name.
Jennifer? Yeah, I think it's Jenny.
Sure. Yeah, Jenny, that sounds right. He's just like, Mikey's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not like...
And she's kind of upset about it, but like...
I mean, you could say, like... I guess you could argue that he's not, like, that upset, but, like, that's what drives him to go... Like, he went across the country to solve the murder of his friend. So I'd say he's upset. He's keeping it contained.
Right.
But he's clearly upset because he went across the country to go...
He's motivated, in the least.
Yeah.
So whenever you like got up and used the restroom, I turned to Aaron and I was, because it was whenever almost said Alex, Axel and Jennifer were like investigating the warehouse where they saw like the bonds being cleaned. I like turned to Aaron and I was like, "Do you think she's in on it?" And then he was like, "Yeah, probably." I was totally expecting her to be in on it. And then like whenever Maitland like goes to confront her after Axel like attacks him the second time at the country club, I was like, oh, I guess she isn't in on it. I thought like she was gonna like totally,
you know why? Because we watched The Mask, and that one threw us for a loop.
Yeah.
Where she was in on it. Now we can't trust it.
The Mask tainted us.
Yeah, no, I totally thought that too. That she'd be in on it.
There was a
just the way she was like, she kept defending him. Like, oh, he's been in this business for 10 years. And
he's well known.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
If it weren't for him, I'd be waiting tables.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But
because if she had been in on it, there'd have been a scene that's like, come on, just let it go. Don't look into it any further. That would have been like the dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Of course, back in the 80s, everyone would have been like, well, just let it go, man.
Like, you gotta forget about it.
Forget about it.
She's asking you nicely. 2 scenes later, she has a gun to him.
The only scene that we really see him show any emotion towards the fact that his friend Mikey was killed whenever Jonathan Banks said that he killed him whenever they like captured him, and it was presumed that they were gonna murder him. He's like, oh, I should have done you whenever I did your pally back in Detroit. And then you could see, and he didn't even like, he just like flashed a little bit of anger on his face, but even then it was just kind of like pretty stoic.
Yeah.
Stoic.
Yeah. So has Eddie Murphy always laughed like this?
I don't know.
Yes, he has.
Because
I have never paid attention.
Yeah, I feel like in his later movies it was a more natural laugh.
Right.
Because this
maybe somebody told him, "Hey, you need to work on that."
Or he watched his own movies. He's like, "The hell am I doing?"
Yeah, that's horrible. Oof. It's like on the level of Seth Rogen laugh for the 80s.
Wow.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing? That doesn't sound natural at all.
At least I like Seth Rogen's.
That's true. Seth Rogen's is funny. Eddie Murphy's in this movie is atrocious.
Maybe it's because Seth Rogen's a stoner, but maybe that's why it's okay.
I don't know. But when it happened, like, he was laughing a lot during them. And he was laughing at his own jokes and stuff, too. And I was just like, you've got to stop.
Yeah,
once
you pointed it out, I was like, I can't not notice that.
Because, like, you just mentioned that, and then I'm, like, thinking about, like, Shrek, where he's laughing as Donkey, and I'm like, oh, it's more like, it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, it's totally natural. It doesn't sound anything like that.
I'm glad we're taking a segment, or taking a spell to talk about Eddie Murphy's laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, it was distracting.
It was.
Very off-putting. I didn't like it.
No, I'm being dead. Honest.
Every time I hear Eddie Murphy talk in a different movie that's not Shrek, I'm just like, That's Donkey.
That's Donkey. Yeah. He's very young in this movie.
If you closed your eyes and just listened to this movie, it would just be
Donkey's got a mouth on him.
Yeah, it would just be like Donkey's trying to solve the murder of his friend.
Oh my god.
That'd be the only way to improve it more.
So I was going to bring up Axel F, the song that plays through the entirety of the movie. I was going to be like, so this is just like the theme song of the movie. And then we found out.
Everybody knows the song.
And then we found out it was literally made for the movie. So I didn't know that. And I was like, Jesus Christ, are they going to use this during every time that he's like running around? And they did.
They literally did.
It's quite literally his theme song.
Yeah, every time he's running around, it's just...
I'm sure back in the day...
Investigating murder.
Bing, bing.
I'm sure like when the movie came out, or until the stupid phone thing, because that was like the whole ringtone for...
An entire generation.
Yeah, like...
Crazy Frog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure up until that point, they're like, yeah, that's a good, that's a good...
Everybody
It's
knows
good,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
Right.
It's an iconic theme song.
But we don't know it for the right reasons now.
Yeah. we do not know it for its inception, which was for the creation of this movie.
I actually was half tempted. I was in a vintage store last week, and I was sifting through their records just for shits and giggles. And one of the ones at the very forefront was Beverly Hills Cop.
Really?
And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I should get
you
that.
should've gotten it.
I thought about getting it, but I didn't.
That would have been great. It would have been perfect companion piece to the DVD.
That's what I thought too. I was like, we could have just stuck it right there.
I even have a record stand that I could have put it on.
I should have found the 8-track.
Yeah.
Or the cassette.
No, 8-track. 8-track all the way.
How large is a casing in a container of an 8-track?
I have no idea. I've never owned 8-tracks.
Yeah, because obviously records are fairly large.
I want to say like 8-tracks were almost like VHS size, maybe.
Yeah, they're about. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one in my entire life. So
I mean, I've seen them, but not like I don't know what they came in.
Yeah,
I've
I've
always
never-
seen them
yeah.
loose.
Yeah.
So I really don't know. That's one form of media I've never owned.
yeah, I bet that would sound great on the record though. That synth score.
Yeah. Well, if they still have it there, I'll be sure to pick it up.
Well,
It's
it's
too late
useless
now.
to us now.
Yeah, it's too
Well,
late.
we can talk about it. We can bring it when we talk about the sequel.
Is that your recommendation for next week?
No. It's not.
The sequel. I was scrolling through IMDb and Lieutenant Taggart or Sergeant Taggart is like a character in all three of the movies at least. So
Oh wow.
apparently, he like I guess he stays in Beverly Hills. I mean, I guess they tease that at the end.
Yeah, he like.
I
brings
guess
it up.
so. Is the implication that he got fired from his Detroit office because?
Because he went.
Yeah, because his chief was like, "Don't investigate, because if you do, like, you're fired."
I wish that the movie had ended like this instead of the like exchange between him, Rosewood, and Taggart. And he's like, "Oh, just follow me. We'll just go do." It should have been him turning to the camera and saying, "I think I'm gonna become a Beverly Hills Cop," and that's how the fucking movie. It just comes up the end.
That freeze frame for like
Freeze
for
frame.
like 30 seconds, like
Slowly fades out.
that would have been a better ending.
Would have been. Yeah.
Maybe that's
pretty good.
yeah. So what I was gonna say is, do we think that he like becomes a detective in Beverly Hills, or do you think that like another case brings him back to Beverly Hills from Detroit?
I mean, I'm sure the universe knows that answer. I've never seen these movies, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't care enough to go looking into it either.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
How is Eddie Murphy a Beverly Hills Cop for so long?
Is he still a Beverly Hills Cop? Is there lore? Are there books? Are there comics?
By the way, number 4 has been in the works for 20 years.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's probably because Eddie Murphy took a long hiatus
Yeah.
of acting to take care of his
So I'm
family.
sure as soon as we post this, they will announce it because
That's just how
Yeah,
things work.
that's how the
Yeah.
universe works for some reason.
yeah.
As soon as we talk about a movie, it's put on some streaming service. Not before though, so we can't. It's not available to us. We have to
Yeah.
Or, when somebody picks one and it's
then
taken
leaves
off
the
of
streaming service like the day of.
Yeah.
No.
It literally had to have been March 1st that it went
Probably,
off
yeah.
because they were all three on there the other day. So.
HBO. That's what's gonna
It
be.
usually says it's like this is your last chance.
Apparently HBO's like, yeah.
That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be. We release this episode, and then a week later, it's gonna be like HBO Max original Beverly Hills Cop coming 2023 or some shit like that.
Yeah, they took the movies off just to announce it.
Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Supposedly,
The reboot.
Beverly Hills Cop 3. So, like, a lot of those 80s, like, comedic actors, after a certain amount of time, they tried to do more serious roles. And apparently, Beverly Hills Cop 3 is one of the movies where Eddie Murphy tried to make it, like, a serious role.
Oh,
And
really?
it's like, of all movies, Beverly Hills Cop 3. Obviously, it's like a comedy movie. Why are you trying to act like it's your Citizen
So
Kane?
it's 3 not a comedy movie?
I mean, I think it is a comedy.
Okay.
What I've heard is Eddie Murphy doesn't act like it's supposed to be a comedy.
Oh.
So I'm sure that's a wonderful
All right.
flick.
Yeah.
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
I think that might be in the can. There's not much left to say about the movie.
Sometimes when we pick a movie, like there's not a lot to talk about because, I mean, it's your basic cop movie,
Yeah,
really.
you just gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta investigate with the character.
All the characters were likable too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Except for the chief, but he's not supposed to be likable.
Oh yeah, Ronnie Cox wearing the same suit that he was shot out of the window in RoboCop. And
We need to find a still frame for both and see if
I actually thought about pulling it up whenever we were watching it. Like, look, it's the same fucking suit.
Well, I guess it's time for ratings.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. I don't know where I got a molder this way.
All right. I'm also in the same boat. Because I didn't hate it, but like maybe I'm just not like the biggest Eddie Murphy fan. Like I really don't. Shrek was probably the first thing I even knew him from. But
That could possibly be my first introduction.
because I saw that in theaters when I was like
Nutty
11.
Professor.
Oh yeah, not even.
Well, I guess I saw that. I probably saw that one.
Dr.
Yeah.
Dolittle, was that him too?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I forgot he was both of those. Anyway, I'm gonna go like a solid. I guess I'll go 7. Like, it's better than an average movie, so it's not a 5. And 6 is
Yeah.
7.
I think I'm gonna echo the 7. I feel like since we're watching this movie 40 years after it was made,
Yeah,
like maybe I would have liked it more if
If
I
it was
watched
something
it
we
20
grew up on or
years ago
something,
or something. But I've seen so many different movies, like cop movies, like police comedy movies, like all that kind of shit.
and probably this was the precursor to all
Yeah.
those ones you're thinking of.
But it's kind of like whenever we had our Halloween discussion where it's like, I've seen so many other horror movies that like
Yeah.
everybody thinks that Halloween's like this fucking great movie, and I was like, it's just okay. So it's just kind of the same thing with this.
Like
for me.
in the context of when Halloween came out. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was mind blowing then, but like all these years later, it's just okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 6.5. It is. It's just okay. Is it something that I would rewatch? Yeah, maybe.
If it was
But,
like on TV
yeah.
or something, I'd
Yeah, if you just
Yeah,
come across it.
But
or whatever.
like, yeah, but like, no one in my entire life of almost 30 years has ever come up to me and been like, "Beverly Hills Cop, man, you ever watch it?" No, I haven't.
no, sorry, I haven't seen it.
Like there are a lot of movies where they're like, "Oh, you ever seen like Fletch?" And it's out there, but it's like, no, but yeah, I'll check it out. Like nobody's ever come up to me and been like, "Dude, Beverly Hills Cop." You're missing out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is anybody's favorite movie.
I know
Maybe,
one
but-
person, but I won't.
You want to divulge that information?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. We have another recommendation coming for us next week. Oh no.
Oh, fucking list.
I just wanted to see that. Got two options. Do you guys want drama or sci-fi action drama?
We haven't done a good drama in a while. We just did a sci-fi movie last week, so
That's true.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
All right, yeah. This would almost be the exact same thing, so I'm tossing that one out the window. We're
Save it
gonna
for
watch
later.
Darkest Hours.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a Gary Oldman movie where he plays Winston Churchill.
oh,
Oh,
is that
Or the
is-
Darkest Hour,
Yeah.
I think is what it's
okay? That's a pretty recent movie. He won an Academy Award for his performance.
I wanted to watch it for the longest time. It's on Netflix, but I
Mhm.
wanted to watch it for the longest time, and now it's available to stream.
all
All
right.
right, there we go.
We're gonna watch that.
So, if you don't want to be spoiled for The Darkest Hours, I believe we'll work
Something like that. Whatever.
For next episode, make sure to watch it before next episode. Thank you for watching and listening to our discussion about Beverly Hills Cop. I hope you enjoyed it. I know we enjoyed talking about it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I guess we'll see you in the next one, guys.
Darkest Hour.